So how do you create self-belief, and how do you believe in yourself when no one else does or you haven't done anything? It's easy to believe that someone who is already successful can be more successful because they've already done something, and we typically have confidence in competence. And when you think about people that are going to make it or people that are going to be successful, and when you look at someone and think, God, of course they're successful, like an entrepreneur or a sports person, you think of course they're going to be successful. Look at how good they are, look at how much they've done. It's a really important thing to be able to do, because anyone who wants to become successful, any entrepreneur, any sports person, anyone who wants to build something and actually, create a career and be the best in the world at something, they started off as nothing. And they started off with this discrepancy between the confidence they had in themselves and their abilities and the actual way their competence would manifest through their experience. And so what you need to learn to do is develop a deep intuitive self-belief. And you need to have a deep level of confidence in yourself and in your ability to work and get the job done. And actually, you need to think you can actually do it. The problem is if you don't believe in yourself, and if you don't have confidence in yourself, and I hate the word self-belief because we're going to talk about how to do this, and there's a whole thing to it that you need to understand. The problem with self-belief and confidence is you haven't done anything, and you have no reason to be confident in yourself, and you have no reason to believe in yourself, because who you are right now and the worldview that you have and the identity that you have is manifesting your current reality. And so the only thing you can really trust your current sense of self or current identity or current belief systems to do is to generate the current reality that you experience. The way the world manifests to you and the way that we experience reality is a reflection of what we believe about it. And so basically, your identity, your worldview, your paradigm is like a projection. And what you think of the world and what you expect of the world and what you tolerate from the world is what the world will give you. And so a lot of people, they tolerate being unhealthy, they tolerate being poor, they tolerate being neglected, they tolerate being rejected, they tolerate suffering, they tolerate depression, they tolerate anxiety through the belief system of identity creation. So basically what happens is you form beliefs and you form your identity around things that have happened to you, and you get trapped. A primary example of this in a psychological study comes from the idea of called Pavlov's dog, or learned helplessness. Now, we're not dogs, we're not canines, we have a little bit more sentient consciousness than a dog. But what Pavlov found in his quest to understand learned helplessness is if you put a dog in a box and that dog tries to get out of the box and you shock the dog, then the dog will no longer try to get out of the box. And this is called learned helplessness, and it's basically a way to explain how classical conditioning, i.e. bad things happening to you when you try and do something, prevents you from trying it again and again and again. And so a lot of the dogs, what they would do is they wouldn't try and get out of the box a second time because they were already expecting shock. Some dogs obviously manage to get out and are smarter than that. But the point I'm making is you're not a dog and you're not, a canine, and you're not stuck in a box. But the metaphor is very true. Most people, what they try and do is they go out into the world and they try and make something of themselves. And they very quickly, immediately learn that trying to make something for yourself, building a business, building a career, building an expertise or building a brand or whatever the hell it is you want to do, they realize it's really hard. And what starts to happen is people judge them for it. People don't believe in them, they fail, etc., etc. And that's the shock. So the question is how do you believe in yourself, and how do you have the confidence and, if anything, the audacity, the audaciousness to move on and try and create something better for yourself? And I have the answer for you today. First of all, stop trying to believe in yourself. Stop trying to have confidence in yourself. And that's paradoxical, because the whole point of this video is you're thinking well, what the hell? How the hell does that work? Because I need to believe in myself to do something. Because if you don't believe you can do something, then you won't bother trying to do it. And if you don't believe me, look, most people never sign up for a marathon, they never sign up for a fight, they never try and start a business, because fundamentally they believe they can. And your beliefs basically give a sense to your actions. So all of the physical movements in your body, the decisions that you make consciously and cognitively, come from your belief systems. And so a belief system is like a root. And the tree, I don't want to say the tree of reality because that makes me sound like I'm on some sort of drug. The tree that grows from that root is basically your life. And you have hundreds, if not thousands, of these little belief systems, statements of perceived truth that basically lock into place. And everything that grows from them is basically, i.e. your behavior, it determines how reality comes forward. So if you believe that 9 out of 10 businesses fail, and you think that that's the statistic and that's just how things are, let me tell you something. 9 out of 10 businesses fail for people that believe that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. And the reason that is because if you go into business and you believe there's a 10% chance of me actually making this work, then you give yourself no choice. It's called praxis. You give assent to action through belief. You give yourself no choice but to make that business fail because you're already expecting it to. And so what I found in my personal experience of making more than $30 million, $40 million online, building a successful company, having a team, living my dream life, is what you expect of the universe is what it will give you. And you can replace the universe here with God or law of attraction or whatever the hell you want to use. And this is some metaphysical crap talk, right? But let me get concrete with you for a second. Don't believe in yourself, believe in who you are becoming. The only thing that you need to have belief in yourself about is your ability to change into the person who can achieve what you want to achieve. And what you need to understand is you get what you are for who you are. And so where you are in life right now is the product of you. You must admit and assume and take complete 110% total responsibility for your existence. All your mental problems, all your health problems, all your financial problems, all your familial issues, although they might not be your fault, right? You are responsible for them. And so what I found works for me really well when I'm looking at a mountain of work, or when I'm looking at a really horrible thing that I don't want to do, or when that confidence I have in myself starts to slip, it's a sign that my goals and my identity are misaligned. And what this represents is a deep, latent desire, an unconscious part of you wanting expansion. And let me explain how this works. So you are who you are. And for some reason you have a goal. You have this thing you want to achieve. You can't explain why it's there. You don't know why it's there. It just is there. I want to make 10K a month. I want to get shredded. I want to have this. I want to have that. I want to get married. Whatever the hell you want, right? And the chances are is that you're not capable of achieving this goal right now. And that's why it's a goal. It's why something you need to strive towards, because you can't get it right now. And this is beautiful, because what it basically is it's kind of like this deep unconscious calling from within to call you towards expansion, to call you towards progress, to call you towards a trajectory, towards something that means something. The question becomes, well, how do I achieve the goal? Because first of all, you think, okay, I need to believe in myself to achieve this goal. I need to generate the self-belief because I need to act with confidence. No, it's the wrong way to look at it. What you do instead is you ask yourself, who would I need to be to achieve this goal? If I look at people that have achieved this goal, because there's probably a few of them out there, right? If I look at people who have achieved this goal in this state of reality, what do they look like? Not physically, not about their height, their skin tone, their hair, their eyes, but what does their identity look like? How do they see the world? What belief systems do they hold? What character traits do they have, etc., etc. And so what you need to do is pair this idea of this hero figure with the idea, and this is a sick idea, with the idea of identity malleability. And this is kind of like Protean insofar as that what you need to understand and recognize is that who you are right now is not who you always have to be. And it's entirely possible for you to undergo a complete transformative identity change. A lot of people believe that your identity doesn't change ever. They think they use this whole idea of neural plasticity. So like you get to 25 and your brain doesn't change, some crap like that. It's not true. We have the capacity as humans for total, utter change. The reason I know that's true is because I've done this myself in my personal life, in my business life, for my health, over and over and over again. The question becomes how? How do we change? The simple answer to this is you need to know what you need to change into, because there's an infinite number of variables about yourself that you could change, from what food you like to what personality traits you have, or what you desire in a partner, or how good you are at talking. There's an infinite array of divergent possibilities for the reassumption of identity or ego, right? So it becomes a bit chaotic. So what you do is you pair this understanding of identity malleability, and you truly believe it. That's where you start. And so when you look at yourself in the mirror, you have all these things about yourself that you believe to be true about you, and that's your identity. And it can change because those beliefs formed from somewhere, and if something is formed, then it can be reformed, if you know what I mean. And so, maybe not in physics, that's not perfect, but you get my point. And so what you do is you need to think, who do I need to change into? Like, how do I change? Where the hell do I start? Well, you start with the end. Okay, you start with the end because it's the smartest place to start, because it gives you so much clarity. You look at this goal, this thing that you want to achieve could be anything. It could be a millionaire, it could be financially free. I'm using financial examples because I tend to make more business-based videos. And you ask yourself, what do I need to change about myself? And like understanding that you can't select your goals around who you are right now. Instead, what you need to do is select who you are around your goals. Then what you do is you look at the goal and you ask yourself, who do I need to become to achieve this goal? And then all you have to do is become that person. And so this is crucial. This is crucial lesson in critical thinking, in goal theory, in achievement. Having thought about this for really 10 years now, we don't achieve goals. We don't achieve outcomes, we don't achieve achievements. We achieve characters and identities, states of psychological existence that allow us to effortlessly manifest behaviors that create causes to trigger the effects that give assent to the objective that we actually want. Looking at this objectively and understanding that what you want to achieve, as in if you want to make money and become a millionaire, can be done, but it cannot be done by you. But it cannot be done by you in your current state. And so what happens with people is they get very frustrated, because what they do is they go after the goal and they try to achieve the goal, and then because they are themselves as their current identity trying to achieve the goal, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Like, you can't become a millionaire with the current state of existence that you have right now. The current identity, the current worldview, the current paradigm, the current belief systems that you have, the way that you see yourself, the internal thoughts, the relationships you have, the skills you have, the character traits that you have, ain't possible. Because if you were the person that could have done it, then you already would. Or you'd be on a trajectory so far along that a message like this wouldn't be necessary and wouldn't resonate with you. That then might leave you a little bit disjointed psychologically and a little bit depressed, because you're like, well, if I can't do it, then what's the point? But this is the point. You don't try and do it for the goal. You don't try to go after the goal. You ask yourself, who do I need to become? And then you go after becoming that person. And it's by becoming that person that the goal manifests. And this is Jungian psychology. And this is the deep understanding that you need to have of how goals and psychology works. And seeing goals for what they are. You don't want a Lamborghini. You don't want financial freedom. You don't want the holiday. You don't want the Rolex. You don't want the money. What you want is personal expansion. And it's the goal is your unconscious, the only mechanism your unconscious has to communicate to you that we want to expand. I'll leave you with this in closing. Your identity has been constructed. Okay, whether you like it or not, you have an identity and you have a worldview, and it has been unintentional up until now. Everything that's happened to you has formed your identity and your worldview, and so you've been responsive. Okay, so everything, who you are right now and how you see the world is the result of everything that's happened. And so what you can start to do is you can start to break that down by making new things happen, and over time you will just start to change, and you'll become a completely new person. You'll have the same driver's license, the same name, the same genes, the same eyes, maybe a little bit of a shittier hairline. There's one for you. But you'll change psychologically, and the actions that you start to take and the way you start to see the world will completely shift, and everything will be amazing, and you'll actually have your goal. And so remember, you don't achieve a goal, you achieve a character, and it's through the achievement of the character that you achieve the goal. I've built a program called Imperium Academy. It's a step-by-step training program that walks you through everything on how to start an agency, coaching, or consulting business in 6 weeks or less. It's completely free. There's no credit card required. There's already 30,000 people getting results in there. So go and check it out. It will be the best thing you ever do for your life, and I'll see you in the next video. That's all. Subscribe.